Hey, what is going on, you guys? My name is Spideko64, and welcome back to yet another Hasbro Marvel Legends action figure review. And here for today's Hasbro Marvel Legends action figure review, we're going to be here today to have a look at and review here today on the brand new, well, I guess kind of semi-brand new Hasbro Marvel Legends, Daredevil Born Again's, Daredevil, and Punisher figures. So, yeah, we're going to be here today to have a look-see here on these Marvel Legends figures, and we're going to be really going to be seeing here today as to how good these figures are. There's been kind of a little bit of some discourse around these figures. Some people have liked them, have praised them, while others say that these are some of the worst Marvel Legends to come out this year. Now, in my personal opinion, I gotta say, I tend to kind of be sort of a little bit in the middle, but I'm relatively gonna be more positive on these two figures and all that good stuff. So yeah, but with all that really kind of being said though, let's go ahead and let's see how these figures are out of the box. All right, so let's go ahead and just get started. So we'll have a look here at Punisher first, and initially, at first, I gotta really sort of be honest with you here. I was kind of a little bit on the fence about getting this particular figure, just kind of because, so kind of basically essentially get this. So in the promo art, or I guess in the digital prototype images that they release of the Punisher, it showed that, hey, that it was a pretty good looking figure overall, and that the head sculpt, looked pretty damn good and all that sort of stuff. But then we kind of get to the official look at the face, and well, okay, I gotta honestly say this about the head sculpt here overall, and that is, I think that the head sculpt here actually looks not that bad in person. I don't know really what it was, but the actual, what's it called? The actual images, of, I guess you could say, of the figure I've seen from a lot of other people, it just didn't really look all that great. Now, I will say this, though, about his face expression. I do think that they chose a little bit of a weird one. I think the main issue here is just kind of the eyebrows. I think that they just kind of look sort of weird in some certain cases, but I mean, overall, though, this is a really nice looking head sculpt, though. And a lot of angles, you can certainly see John Berth on there and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I was really on the fence, though, about this figure, but it pretty much did pleasantly surprise me with the head sculpt. So, that right there is pretty damn good. Now, in terms of the rest of the body itself, this is all a 100% new sculpt. We will have a look at the accessories here in just a moment, but a couple observations I made about the new body and all that good stuff. Of course, obviously, you see the Punisher skull right here. It's half missing the paint and all that stuff. So there you go. You have all these pouches and all the rest of the magazines right there, which they're not removable. So that may be disappointing to some people. Also, interestingly enough, on this side here, we have the American flag right there, which that's really interesting, that I will just say for sure. And then we also have another Punisher skull right there on the side there. And looking down here to the knees, of course, obviously you got the boots down there, and of course you got the silver paint on the buckles. And kind of looking to the back of the figure, it's pretty bare bone, all things considered. So there you go. Now, in terms of accessories, I guess one of the few things kind of lacking in this department for Punisher is just his accessories. So let's kind of go ahead and have just a brief look at the accessories here. So first and foremost, he does come, of course, obviously with this pistol right there, which has an extended magazine. It's not a clip, it's a magazine. Learn the difference to any of you non-gun people. And then he does, of course, obviously does come with these weapons here. He does obviously come here with the tomahawk, or not the tomahawk, the axe. Of course, you can see here you got gray wrapping there and all that good stuff. And then you have here the knife, which basically all these colors are the same colors that are basically used on the figure, basically kind of silverish. And of course, obviously, if you wanted to, of course, obviously for Punisher right here, we have, of course, the trigger finger hand. and you can just slide that in. The plastic is a little bit gummy, but not too bad. I mean, not terrible. I'll just say that for sure. We got another trigger finger hand right here, and you can also kind of go ahead and put the knife there if you did want it to. And you can obviously, of course, put the axe right there. So there you go. That looks pretty cool. But now, of course, obviously for the gun, you can holster it right there. Now for the knife, I just more or less have this holstered right here. And of course, you can obviously go ahead and port that in. Now, in terms of the interchangeable hands, let's kind of go ahead and sort of explain that right here. So we do have a one-fisted hand right there. So that looks pretty cool. And then for the other hand, since we are already here, we'll basically put these on for the rest of the duration of the Punisher segment. But obviously, he comes with just only one fisted hand that goes on to the left, or this is the left hand. And then of course, obviously for the right hand, we have just an open palm hand, which it's kind of weird. Now, first and foremost, I'm not a fan of them just giving these action figures just only one pair of interchangeable hands, or just one set of interchangeable hands. I would have rather we get pairs, two fisted hands for either hand, and then two, of course, grabbing hands. But kind of weird how they gave this one this open palm kind of hand, and it honestly makes you kind of wonder, what were they gonna give Punisher here? Were they gonna give him because here's the thing about, I know that some people will say, is that this Punisher is severely lacking in weapons. Now, the weapons he does use these all in the show, in Daredevil Born Again and all that good stuff. But the thing is, though, it's just that these are the only weapons that he really uses. A gun, just a pistol, and an axe, and then obviously, of course, the knife. He did use a shotgun, though, which kind of weird how they didn't give Punisher a shotgun, but that, I don't know. So that's really kind of weird. Kind of weird how they just had this. Hell, he was even going to come with an open palm hand and all that good stuff. So that was really weird. So, yeah. Okay, but now let's kind of go ahead and actually I'm going to go ahead and do something that I really haven't really sort of done with these action figure reviews, and that is really the articulation segment. So we're going to go off ahead here and we're going to look at the articulation, because I do think that the articulation for this figure right here is interesting. That I will say for sure. So, of course, obviously, Punisher can look up that far. Oh, there's some plastic coming out of there. Okay, that's not great. I barely just saw that. What the hell? I've had this figure for a week, and I just barely noticed that. What the hell? So he can look up that much, look down really far. Of course, his head can, kind of pivot side to side, of course, with that dumbbell right there. And then, of course, obviously, arms can move up that far up, and then, of course, they could rotate all the way around. And in terms of the butterfly joint, he does have some, but it's really weak. It's like, why did you even give him a butterfly joint anyways, if it's not gonna what's it called, go in and out? Yeah, this one's just worse. Okay, so that's not great. Of course, obviously he has a bicep sole right there. You do get the double jointed elbows right there that bend in really nice. And then, of course, obviously, wrists swivel side to side and hinge up and down. So there you go. I do believe there are, horizontal hinges for the trigger hand. So there you go. See it right there. And now in terms of the diaphragm joint right here, he can crunch really not that far, but he can crunch a lot back. So, and of course, obviously it is painted underneath, so that looks pretty damn cool. He does have a waist swivel, so there you go. Legs can obviously, of course, can only move that far. They can only really move not really back at all. Does have an upper thigh cut right there, and then this is kind of sort of where things get a little bit weird. Oh man, the double joints, they're really tight on mine, that I will just say for sure. But yeah, he does have double jointed knees right there. And that's how it kind of looks. So that looks really strange. So there you go. There is no boot rotation right here, which I know that some people have kind of complained about. And even I will just say that it's even kind of hard to kind of give him to just have Punisher just stand just normally, just in a vanilla pose. So no boot swivel, so that's a bit frustrating. So we do, of course, have the ankles to move down. They do move up all that much. And, of course, he does have the ankle pivot right there. So now, with that being said, let us now kind of go off ahead here and let us... we're going to zoom out here just... oop, that's a little bit too far. Let's kind of go ahead and get Punisher kind of standing. Yeah, kind of standing like that. Let's go ahead and we are going to do a comparison between the original Punisher figure. This is the original, this is the original MCU Punisher figure right here. And obviously, of course, you can see right here, a lot of differences between these two figures. Of course, obviously, this one, of course, obviously has the trench coat right here. And there's a little bit of dust and all that sort of stuff. I am a bit sorry about that. But yeah, head sculpt still looks pretty cool, though. That I will say for sure. But yeah, just overall, just god damn, there's so much dust on this thing and all that sort of stuff. Now, one interesting thing though that you can do that I haven't seen really anybody else do, but let's go ahead and take this head sculpt out. Now, you can't put this head onto the new head, but this is something that you can do, and let's hope that the neck doesn't come out here, and you can do this. Yeah, you can put the new head sculpt on the original Punisher body right there. And it actually looks pretty good. It actually looks kind of cool. Honestly, yeah, there you go. You have an alternative look for your Punisher right there. So that looks pretty cool. But obviously, of course, it would be much better if, what's it called, that Hasbro actually made a version like this with the trench coat. A new version like this with the trench coat. So there you go. But I'm going to go ahead here and off camera just put the head back on just so I don't mess up anything. So there you go. Okay, so that right there was a look at Punisher right here. Overall, this one pretty good. The articulation in some areas is pretty weak, especially with the butterfly joints, but overall pretty solid release. So now let's go ahead and transition here from Punisher to now Daredevil. And here is now a look at Daredevil. And out of the two figures from Daredevil Born Again, I gotta say that obviously, of course, I was the most excited for Daredevil right here. Now, I will say this, though, is that Daredevil, for the most part, I gotta say that, yeah, first and foremost, that this is a really, just a really great update to the original Daredevil figure and all that good stuff that, of course, obviously has released back in, 2017 and all that good stuff. But this figure does, overall, though, still does, have some problems here and there and all that good stuff. But we'll kind of go ahead and we'll kind of get to that point, though. But first and foremost here, let's just kind of go ahead and have an overview look at the figure itself and the details and all that good stuff. So here's a quick look at the head sculpt right here for Daredevil, and it's a pretty good looking head sculpt. That I'll say for sure. Really different look for Daredevil, that I will say for sure. The horns aren't really as pronounced on here. Not like the old one that I have, of course, laying down here. We'll do a comparison here in just a moment, but yeah, I think that this one came out. Yeah, head sculpt came out really dang good. And of course, obviously, here is the rest of the body itself here. I think it looks pretty neat. Sculpting works looks pretty good. Right there. Of course, obviously, here's the belt, and then here's, of course, obviously, are the legs. So pretty much a lot of course, obviously, you got a lot of this basketball-ish kind of material kind of sort of going on with the Daredevil look. Kind of sort of funny a little bit, but yeah, so there you go. And here's a quick look at the back of the figure right there. Kind of don't like how these joints stick out like a bit of a sore thumb. We'll get into the articulation here in just a moment, and we'll kind of talk about that issue here in a moment. But in terms of accessories, Daredevil does, of course, obviously does come with a few accessories, and similar to Punisher, he only really kind of comes with a few. So, of course, obviously you have these what is it called? These, yeah, bully clubs right here. Now, they cannot connect or anything like that, not like with the original figure, which that's really pretty unfortunate that they can't, yeah, they cannot connect. But there, as a kind of consolation to that, you do get this wire. Yeah, you do get this wire piece right here, which I'm pretty sure this came with with another Daredevil figure, like with another comic book version of, with like a comic book figure of Daredevil. And let's see if you can. It's not really kind of pegging on all that. I don't know. That's okay. Maybe they're on the wrong way. I'll just go ahead and do. I don't know. They just can't really peg in all the way. So that is, I guess, not great. Not great at all. Let's see if they kind of will. I don't know. Okay, it doesn't really look all that great, but let's kind of go ahead here. So yeah, there you go. So if you really want to, you can have, of course, obviously Daredevil doing some stuff with the Bully Club. Would have been cool if this one had like a bendy wire in them, but obviously, of course, they didn't put that. And what's it called here? He does come, of course, obviously with some interchangeable hands. Of course, obviously you have here one kind of grabbing sort of hand, and of course, obviously you got a fisted hand, and they can, of course, peg on. We'll basically sort of have these hands on for the rest of the review and all that good stuff. So so you can, of course, obviously you can see that. So yeah, there you go, peg on really good. And yeah, now like I said before, with the Punisher, I wish it could have come with multiple pairs, or even sets of fisted hands and grabbing hands and all that great stuff. And of course, oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, but you can, of course, obviously holster these weapons in like so. There you go. Yeah, they go on just like that. So yeah, pretty cool. All right, but now let's kind of go ahead here and get into the articulation kind of segment. And be really honest with you, the articulation can be kind of weak. It's pretty weak in some areas, that I'm just going to be saying, but let's just kind of go ahead and sort of get into it. So, head can barely look up and can look down, and could look down a lot. Yeah, there's something weird. It just won't go back as much, which is just so weird. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so head can swivel side to side right there and all that sort of stuff. And it can pivot a little bit. I don't know, not that much. Of course, then going here to the arms, of course, arms can rotate all the way around. And they do move up that far. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, they move up that much. Okay, that's great. Shoulders, let's kind of go ahead and talk about the shoulders here. They can move out that far, but they can't move really in at all. So, really kind of does stink a little bit, considering that. I don't know. I think I really do gotta heat up the joints, because sometimes they're just either so tight or so loose. I don't know. It just, they can't decide. Obviously, of course, arm swivel or bicep swivel right there. Do get the double jointed elbows. And of course, obviously, wrist swivel side to side, and they hinge up and down as the thing came off of the peg right there. I think, yeah, these ones, of course, have the horizontal hinges right there. So there you go. The ones where you can hold the bully clubs and all that sort of stuff. Or the batons, whatever the hell you want to call it. Go ahead and talk about the diaphragm joint, which this is really weird. So, obviously, it can't, I don't know, man. God damn it, dude. Like, it's really hard to kind of pivot it a little bit, but you can do it. Okay, so it just needed a little bit of good one. Okay, so there you go. It can tilt side to side. And it can crunch that forward. That looks really weird here with that back really all exposed and stuff like that. And he can, I assume, crunch. Yeah, he can crunch back that much, but kind of a bit weak right there. Really tight. And then, of course, obviously, he does have a waist swivel right there. And in terms of the legs, legs can kick out forward that much, and he can kick back really not that much right there. How about in terms of the splits? Okay, you can, of course, obviously see a lot of movement right there. He does, of course, have a upper thigh cut right there. You got double jointed knees, but here is the biggest kind of problem here, and that is you can see here what the boot area which is supposed to be in red or in black, excuse me, it is in red. So that does not really look all that great. And then, of course, obviously, no boot rotation at all. Really could have been better if it would have had it. Ankles can move down that much. Can move up that far. And he does have, of course, obviously, ankle pivot right there. So, in terms of articulation, he could use better ball joints he could use better, there should be better, the butterfly joints could be better, and the head sculpt could be much better here, but I don't know, maybe it's my figure, but man, that's just weak. I don't know, kind of don't understand that, so, yeah. Well, with that really kind of being said, though, let's kind of go ahead here, and let's now go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison here, and let us bring out the original. Yeah, there you go. We have the original Daredevil figure right there, and obviously you can, of course, see two really different designs going on here for Daredevil. Just obviously, of course, you know, we have, of course, Netflix and Disney Plus right here. Just again, just looking so different. Obviously, of course, you could see here. I kind of sort of do wonder if you can. Well, we're gonna try to go ahead here and do another head swap, as you will. Let's see. Wait, hold on a minute. We might have something here. Okay. Head port's on, but he has no neck, so let's kind of go ahead and sort of I guess that looks pretty. I guess that looks better. Doesn't really match the paint though, and and then this one has a long neck. Okay, so I guess it's kind of, yeah, this one just has a short neck. Yeah, one just has a short neck, and then one just has a long neck. I guess that's just par for the course. But we'll go ahead and I'm putting the head on in the background here so I don't knock over anything. So yeah, there you go. Overall though, I gotta say though, really do much prefer this Daredevil figure. So this is the one though, this one still has a really special place in my heart. I'm never gonna get rid of this figure. But yeah, so I guess with that really kind of being said though, let us now kind of go off ahead here and let us I'm gonna go ahead and bring back out Punisher here. And I'll give you all my final conclusions on these two figures right here. All right, so I hope all of you enjoyed this one. Enjoyed this video, I should say, and all that good stuff. So overall, I do gotta say though that in conclusion, I think that these two figures right here, look, man, I think that you know, there's a couple of problems here and there with these figures, but overall, though, I think that these are, in general, really solid releases. All things really kind of considered. I think that for any of you that are wanting to get an MCU version of Daredevil and Punisher, especially, again, for those MCU collectors that Hasbro seems to apparently ignore half of the time, but whatever. But anyways, though, I think that these figures are going to look really solid on your MCU display and all that good stuff. I can bet you right here that these figures just went so damn well on my shelf and all that good stuff, and yeah, whatnot, sort of have you. So yeah, really overall, just really two good damn looking figures overall. All things really kind of considered. So yeah, so hope all of you have enjoyed this review. This is not going to be the only Marvel Legends review that I have planned out. There is another one that I got kind of planning in the works here, but it's going to be a bit of a more massive one. And let's just say that it involves, yeah, another set of 4 figures here, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit more later. But yeah, hopefully all of you enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below. What do you think of these two figures? Do you think these are good? Do you think that maybe I'm way too nice on these figures? Maybe you think I need to be more harsher on these figures? Please let me know. Without really all that being said though, guys, hopefully all of you had a great Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. And I will see all of you in the next video.